It is so good to have each one of you here this evening to recognize the service. And it is a retirement celebration, but to recognize the service of the most popular S.R.O. that has ever been in Anderson County Schools. And it will probably be a long time. I'm sorry, Brian, he topped you. It's probably going to be a long time with the kids before anybody else will top that particular accomplishment, because Al is not only a K-9 and an officer and very serious in what he does, but he's also the kid's dog. And for the last 10 years in Anderson County Schools, they have loved on him, pulled on his tail, pulled on his ears, done everything in the world that's imaginable, and he's taken it all in stride and just loved and protected our kids. So that's what we're here tonight for, and I am glad you're here to be a part of this. Now, Kim and I were talking about this ceremony and this service yesterday. And I shared with her that, and the reason I'm up here is because if Kim would be up here after dealing with Al and being Al's person for the last 7 years, Larry at home, Kim during the day, she said she didn't know if she could talk about this, but anyway, we're going to do some things special tonight to recognize him. Before we do that, I want to introduce a few people that are here. To start with, I'm going to introduce Dr. Tim Parrott. He's our Director of Schools for Anderson County. Tim. And Tim would want me to say, if you are a staff member with Anderson County Schools, would you stand and let the people see all the staff members because our staff people love our S.R.Os and Al. Thank you for being here. Tim said there'll be something extra in your check at the end of the month. Maybe. A snow day. Okay. I'm not sure we'll get one by the end of the month. But anyway, thank you for being here. Next, let me introduce Sheriff Russell Barker. Sheriff Barker. And Russell will be up later on, and he might want to introduce some more people on his staff. I know that Chief Galloway and several of the other chiefs are here. Captains, lieutenants, others that I see sitting out here today. And Russell may want to do some more recognition, and I'll let him do that with his staff. But anyway, thank you for being here and for all that you've done. We've got a special person with us tonight that has been retired himself 7 years, but he was the sergeant of our S.R.O. squad when I came in and took over as Director of Safety for Anderson County Schools, and it was just a great guy to work with and to partner with. C.H. Bean, thank you for being here tonight. He and his wife are here, and Sergeant Bean is always going to be very special to Anderson County Schools. We've got another person that's here that's somewhere. Oh, I see him sitting in the back. Chief Lucas. Chief Lucas was the chief deputy for years and years and years, and a very special person that we work with. So Mark Lucas, thank you for being here tonight. Now, we've got a group of people here that Rusty is very proud of. Rusty Carr is one of our S.R.Os, and he is the leader of a new organization, which is the Explorer Post. So if you're one of our explorers for the Sheriff's Department in Anderson County, would you stand up? These are your future officers. So Russell, you and Brian will want to get their names and information before they leave here today. thank you. You can sit down, and we're so proud of this group, and we're glad that they're here today. And we've got another group that is very special. If you are a current school resource officer in Anderson County Schools with the Anderson County Sheriff's Department, would you stand, please? These are a special group of people. And we are so proud, and Russell may talk a little more about that, but we're soon, now we have gone from 10 to 12. In March, we will go to 14 officers, and when the school starts next year, we'll be at 15, so we'll have officers on every campus, not in every school. We've got some campuses where that you have more than one school on a campus, but we'll have officers on every campus in Anderson County Schools, and we're very proud of that. So give our Sheriff's Department and our people a special applause for the hard work that they've done in making this happen. Now, let me introduce a special couple that 7 years ago agreed, and they were excited to do this, to take Al, and Kim became our K-9 officer for the Anderson County school system. But her husband, it's a team process. You can't do this, and Coley and I were having a long discussion about this. See, it's a family affair when you do this. It's not just one person deciding to do this. In fact, before she did this, I had a discussion with Larry about making sure that everybody was in agreement. So, Larry and Kim Lay, would you stand? These are very special people that have put a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, tears, and their own money, and I know that, into this program. Let me tell you I'll tell you that later. And the last introduction is Al. Al is so excited to be here. Al's like me. He's in his last year of work, and he can lay down if he wants to. He doesn't have to stand up and be recognized. But give Al a hand. He is. Anyway, thank you. Some people I would like to also thank tonight. I'd like to thank Ryan Sutton. Ryan is our communications person for Anderson County Schools and does Channel 95 and several things, and he's putting this, I'm sure, some things on 95 with this particular process, and works with a lot of, he and Larry have been working with all the technology and stuff to set all this up. And we're thankful, very thankful that Ryan is here. Thank Anderson County High School for providing the facilities and opening up their facilities for this tonight. Officer Kim Lay, Sergeant Garrison, others I know that have put a lot of time and effort into getting ready for this presentation today, and we thank them. And thank you for being here tonight. Let me just take a few minutes to talk about, for those that may not know who I am, my name is Joe Forty. I'm Director of Safety for Anderson County Schools. This is, I was laughing earlier about the fact that Al and I are retiring the same year. That is true. This is about 10 years in the system for him. It's 39 years in the system for me. And he woke up one morning and told Kim it's time, and I woke up one morning and told Pam it was time. And so we're looking forward to that. But the good thing is that everything's in place. CH and I and Wendy and I have dreamed and talked and worked on this thing for years. And the framework is all in place, and we've got Dr. Parrott and Sheriff Barker, who are two young men that have come in and been tremendous to work with in helping to bring all these things to fruition. And it's going to be left in good hands, CH. So we can do these things with pride, knowing that next year it's going to be even better than this year, and we're looking forward to that. But about 10 years ago, I was introduced to a black lab that came into the system, and I'll be honest with you, when it first happened, we didn't really know how we were going to be able to handle all this kind of thing. Some of the people on the board questioned how all these things were going to come to fruition, and our director of schools had some questions, and other people, but we brought Al in. Al was a very expensive training process, and some of them wondered why we were putting so much money into to getting a K-9 ready. Well, 10 years later, nobody questions it. 10 years later, if they do question it, their kids will absolutely take them to task on it. And so in dealing with it, we have had a K-9 here that has had, is it 3 handlers? 3 that I know of. 4. I forgot one of them. Okay. But it's happened, and he's gone through, and the last 7 years he's been with Kim and Larry Lay. And I will tell you, I've learned a lot about K-9s and K-9 handlers. I was laughing with Coley, and I said, you know, a K-9 handler, your dog is right there with your mama. And if you talk about your mama, somebody's going to whip you. And if you're a K-9 handler, if you talk about their dog, they're going to whip you. Don't tell them that they were bad. Don't tell them they did something wrong. Don't tell them anything like that, because they take these animals very seriously, and that's good. They love them like their own children. So, and we've learned that. I've been bit a couple of times over the last 10 years because of things like that. Not with a dog either. But as we look at these things, we just, our people, and I will tell you, Al has gone into the schools, and he has been the best ambassador. You have no idea, Sheriff, and all the people with the Sheriff's Department, you have no idea the kind of ambassador that Al has been for your Sheriff's Department with the children of Anderson County. They just absolutely fell in love with Al. And it was good that Kim was with him too, but they were looking for Al, weren't they? Yeah, sorry. And that's been the way things have happened. Well, we have worked for years with this. Now, Al has reached the retirement age. We have a new K-9 that Sheriff Barker has worked with us to bring in. His name is Max, and Max is another black lab, a little bigger than Al, a little more energetic than Al, a little stronger than Al. He's a monster. But he's just as smart and just as good as, and he's going to be tremendous. And we're looking forward to the next 10 years with somebody else working in this role, of having Max in that role of a K-9 with Anderson County. But folks, when you have an opportunity to work with these folks every day, and to deal with these folks every day, and to deal with these animals every day, you're just blessed. And we have been truly blessed. We're so proud in Anderson County of the fact that we have, I think, the best school resource officer group in the state. I will put them up against anyone. We have been blessed in Anderson County that we've never had a school shooting. We are intelligent enough to know that it can happen, and these folks trained all through Christmas, and we know those kinds of things can happen, but to be ready for that, to know what to do with it and how to handle it is the biggest thing that we can do. So, folks, I am so proud of this school resource officer group. I would love to have Sergeant Garrison come up and speak, but if I did, our knees would be knocking together because she does not like to speak in public. So if I've got your permission, Wendy, I will introduce your boss. Okay, Sheriff Russell Barker, and Russell's going to come and share some things. Russell?
There's not a lot else to say because Joe stole most of my material, even down to the word ambassador. I planned on using that one, but he snagged it right out from under me.
You can repeat it all.
But what I would want to share with you guys tonight is this: the growth of the S.R.O program. Joe gave us a lot of credit for it, but it was completely a team effort, and he actually is the one who spearheaded the grant to help us get these additional S.R.Os. So we're very thankful for that. For me, the entire partnership with Anderson County Schools is just absolutely crucial, and we're super excited that the program is growing and that we're seeing more deputies in schools, and we're getting better coverage because it's a different world we live in now, and we have to be safe. We have to take the precautions, and I think that we're on the right path. I really do. One of the things I would say about S.R.Os is it is a difficult job. It is basically everything that you run from in a patrol situation. Child custody issues, parenting plans, juvenile law. Those are some of the toughest things you face as a law enforcement officer, and these guys are asked to specialize in it. So we have a fabulous bunch, and I agree. I think we have probably the best unit in East Tennessee, if not the state. And when it comes to Al specifically, and really all of our canines, we have some other canine handlers here, former canine handlers. I was speaking with the Clinton Courier outside, and they were asking me some questions about the K-9 unit and what is important and what we look for. When you think of a K-9, you think of patrol dogs, narcotics detection, apprehension, tracking, and Al done all those with the exception of apprehension. And when we looked, and of course we inherited Al, but when we looked at replacing Al, it only made sense for us to go back with a black lab because their demeanor is exactly what you want. Because sometimes we're dealing with kids that their only contact with law enforcement is negative, where we may be arresting one parent or one relative, and so it's important. And what a better icebreaker than having a canine there, particularly a black lab. And Al has done a fabulous job. One of the things too that I think with any canine handler, not just Deputy Lay and her husband Larry Lay, is anytime you see a canine officer, I can't begin to tell you the amount of training and the amount of time that they have to invest in doing that. Because it's not like it's something that you put down when you're off duty. You take the canine home with you, and you have to care for it, bathing, feeding, exercising, and then the amount of training that goes on. One of the things is that these dogs can be very expensive when you go to replace them. And so on top of that, not only is it, like Joe said, one of your children, but at the same time, it's also it's a law enforcement tool, a piece of equipment, if you will. And so it's really hard. So it really bleeds over into their personal lives as well when they're off duty, because when you have a vacation plan, it's not like when you got Fluffy, you drop him off at your sister's house to keep while you go to the beach. They either go with you or you have to make special arrangements, because it is indeed a police dog. So please, when you see these canine officers, know that they are incredibly dedicated to serving the community. So I think that's real important for you guys to hear. And the only other thing that I would really like to add is two of my favorite things that I've heard since becoming sheriff is Kim and Larry were trying to go on a vacation. Do you mind? Okay. And they were trying to figure out where they were going to kennel Al. And Kim knew Larry was super sensitive about it because Larry loves Al. And so she found this really posh place that was going to be just the right one. And Larry begrudgingly went to visit. And as soon as he walked through the door, he knew it wasn't the right one. And for lack of a better term, Larry had a temper tantrum. And to the point that Larry didn't go on the trip. He stayed home with Al. So that shows you the bond that they had. And then the last thing that I would want to share with you guys is when Al retired and Max came along, Larry reported to me that Al was none too happy to see Max going out the door and getting in his patrol car. He did not like that one bit, seeing the new guy show up and it taking his job. But thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. And are we going to do the thing now? All right. So we have a little something here that we would like to give to Kim and Al. This is a plaque. It's the picture you see here behind me of Al, and it says, Anderson County Sheriff's Department, thank you for your service to our community and schools.
I really did try not to steal Russell's thunder. I used to teach at Clinton High School, and when I went over there in 1985, I walked into a classroom one day, and a 14-year-old red-headed young man was sitting in my classroom, who is now sheriff of Anderson County. The next year, there was another dark-headed young man that was sitting in my classroom that was 14 years old. He's now your chief deputy. And we've got others. So I can honestly say I'm probably the only person in here that's paddled both of your two law enforcement officers in Anderson County. And, I look at them and I do respect certainly them and their role and their job right now. But see, I look at them, they're my boys. And I'm very proud of them. And I'm proud of the job that they do and the things that they do. Did you want to introduce any of your other staff? You can.
To kind of give you an idea of the support we had our S.R.O stand up earlier, but also here with us tonight is Chief Deputy Brian Galloway. I think we may have already, Joe might have got that one. Director of Community Relations, Greg McBroom. And also Assistant Chief Sexton here on the end. And out in the audience, we have Captain Sharp, Lieutenant Steve Owens, Lieutenant Robert Mansfield, and we have the rest of our unit. We have a ton of police officers here, so if you'd raise your hand if you're one of our deputies.
Thank you. Let me tell you just a couple of real other things I'll throw in about Al. I didn't know if Russell would tell them or not. And he did tell you that Al was not any too happy to see Max come in. And these are some things that I have shared, and I'm not going to ask him if I can share them. I'm going to share them with you. The funny thing is that Kim shared with me that when she would take Max out, Al would go around and pee on everything that Max had. So he was not too happy about sharing not only his car, but he wasn't so happy about sharing his home with the new dog that came in. And so it's kind of been funny. A few years ago, Al had they found a growth on one of on the spleen, and he had to go in for emergency surgery. I will tell you this: these two folks over at our side here, and this particular little surgery was a little over $4,000. They didn't think twice about pulling out a credit card and footing the bill themselves. Now, can I brag on one other thing right now? The kids of Anderson County wanted to share in that, and took up their nickels, dimes, quarters, pennies, dollars. Some of the staff threw in some pretty good amounts to help to foot the bill for that surgery. So not only have they invested a lot of energy and time and blood, sweat, and tears in Al, but a lot of money in keeping him around, because they were not going to let Al have to be put down. And that was how many years ago to Kim? 5? About 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And then he went back to work after that, CH, and finished his career. So if you go to Anderson County Schools, let me do one other thing. If you're a student in Anderson County Schools, stand up. I want to recognize our kids. We've got a lot of kids here tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you. One of our commissioners is here, and thank you for being here. And, you know, in dealing with it, if you, I just wanted to say that Al is loved. Now, we're going to dismiss. We're going to have a little reception out in the hallway, in the area out there. You can come by and visit with Al. I will tell you, Al is like me. He's gotten old. He doesn't like his tail pulled on anymore. And he doesn't like people getting down in his face and getting too close and doing those kinds of things, because like me, he's got to be an old man and he's a little grouchy. And but now you can pet him and you can visit with him and you can do that, but just try to honor those things, and I think that he'll be very comfortable to be around you. So, does anybody have anything else to say? As they said in the church, are all hearts and minds clear? Thank you for being here. You're dismissed. Let's go to our reception in the hallway.